Gladstone Small, Warwickshire and England cricketer. Discovered as a schoolboy, he's been at the top of cricket for well over a decade. He's played in an astonishing 17 test matches and is the most successful bowler in Warwickshire's history.
Sometimes it's not a particular ball that gets you the wicket, it's what's going on.
Gladstone's one of the boys. Great man.
You create the pressure, you create doubt in the batsman's mind.
A very tough competitor, doesn't like losing.
And that's what gets you that wicket.
Been one of the outstanding seam bowlers in the last 10 years.
He's a gentleman of the day, I saw that.
Some might argue with that.
Gladstone was born in Barbados. The only son of 4 children, he spent most of his spare time playing cricket. When Gladstone was 16, the family moved to Birmingham, where he attended Moseley School. It was there that his unique bowling style was noticed by Bob Evans, the umpire of Camp Hill Old Boys Cricket Club.
He played school cricket for Moseley Modern here in Birmingham, and he played against King Edward's Camp Hill School.
Bob Evans, he was a very influential figure in my early years. He took me in under his wing. He was a bit of like a guardian figure for me.
Oh, it was very great to me because I always wanted him to play cricket.
Mum and Dad, they didn't think in terms of him making not as great a success as he's had, but he was never one for playing around with kids of his age. He'd always be in amongst with the cricketers. That was where Mum always found him.
In order for Gladstone to play for Camp Hill, Bob Evans asked permission from Gladstone's father, who said yes. Gladstone was now ready to take the first steps of his cricketing career, but one thing stood in his way.
He had no kit, I remember that. No flannels, no whites, no sweaters, no boots. So I took him off to a sports shop here in Birmingham and kitted him out.
I lived in Aircourt Green, and he lived just around the corner. He lived just around the corner in Solihull, and he said, "Come and pick me up in a big gleaming Rolls Royce to take me to the cricket matches." So that was a bit of a sight. And
he was clearly a very, very talented player.
Any time that we spent playing with Glad, it was always a game of cricket, and if we did get into bat, you were lucky if you hit the ball or you'll be out in no time, so you spent most of the time running around after the ball.
It's a love of it. I mean, cricket, I just played it for fun. As a boy, you played it on the beach, in the streets. Yeah. I came here, you played for a club side. It was just all fun. I mean, and then all of a sudden someone came to me and said, "Hey, we think you can play this game for a living. Why don't you come and play for us?" I said, "You serious about that?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Well, why not?"
David Brown, then manager of Warwickshire Cricket Club, soon realised if he didn't sign Gladstone, someone else would. So he quickly arranged a meeting with the committee at Lord's Cricket Ground in London.
And I took Gladstone down to Lord's on the train, and all the way down on the train I instilled into him that he must stress the fact that now he felt English, his home was in England, and he felt a true blue Englishman, and he would go through his career wanting to play for England. And I thought when we got to Lord's we'd done a decent job and he'd been suitably brainwashed, and we got into the committee meeting, and there enough came the question to Gladstone. Why did he want to play cricket for England? Whereupon Gladstone said, well, the West Indies have got Andy Roberts, Malcolm Marshall, Joel Garner. I'm not going to get into their side. And I thought, oh, no, we've blown it now. But fortunately, they were sympathetic, and Gladstone was allowed to play for Warwickshire as a homebred player.
We were very sorry in Barbados when he actually came to England, because we felt that he would have had a very good chance of playing for the West Indies there. But having come to England, Barbados' loss and West Indies' loss was England's gain, because he played with some distinction.
Well, when he came to England, he started playing professionally. You know, we saw him in a different light then. To us, I suppose the relationship sort of changed for a bit, kind of thing. To us, we sort of put him on a pedestal, but now he's back down. Whenever we see him, he's just Gladstone all over again.
Well, when I see Gladstone on the screen, I feel real good, very, very good indeed, that to know that he reached such heights in the cricket world.
It's still there, the excitement, but we don't go around bragging, "Who Gladstone Small is our brother." In fact, no one at work knows he's my brother.
We discovered, quite by accident, that he could bowl fast. It was a six-a-side competition, a very social, easy Sunday afternoon. But when it was Gladstone's turn to bowl, he came pounding in, let a fearsome ball go, short of a length, nearly took the bloke's head off, and I thought that was a seriously fast ball. Walked over to Gladstone and said, "Gladstone, why didn't you tell me you could bowl quick?" And he said, "Because you didn't ask me."
Sometimes it's not a particular ball that gets you the wicket. It's what's going on. You create the pressure, you create doubt in the batsman's mind, and that's what gets you that wicket.
If you equate fast bowling to throwing a javelin, they throw the javelin 6 times. A bowler puts in the same amount of effort. He's not allowed to bend his elbow like a javelin thrower, but a bowler puts in the same amount of effort every time he bowls a ball, and he might have to do it, 150 times in one day.
Sometimes standing behind the wicket, taking the ball off Gladstone, the batsmen come in and their feet are shaking and their hands are shaking, Obviously, he's a world-class bowler, and when he's not around, it is a big hole to fill.
By the age of 19, I think he was on the county staff, and he was capped, I think, when he was 21 or 22 years of age.
He's been a great servant to Warwickshire and to English cricket. He's a wonderful player. Beautiful to watch, poetry in motion, people have described him. He's got a great wrist action when he bowls. He's really competitive. He gets stuck in, plays the game in the right spirit. So, that's good for the game.
I'm a seam bowler. The seam of the ball, this is my best friend. And I can use this in various ways to get the ball on a good day to swing. When it lands on the wicket, to deviate off the wicket, can get it to bounce a bit higher than the batsman thinks it's going to be.
Gladstone's appearance is caused by a condition known as Clipperfield syndrome. In some cases, it can be fatal. For Gladstone, it hasn't stopped him from becoming one of the deadliest wicket takers in cricket.
One of my nicknames was Shoulders at school because it looks as though, that's all I had was shoulders.
Lots of people took the mickey, but he took it in his stride.
Something that I've learned to live with from a very young age, and once I knew that it didn't affect anything that I wanted to do, it didn't bother me at all.
It doesn't affect him in any way, apart from reversing the car, which we all laugh about when he does it. He's a very dignified person. He takes it all in his stride, and it's water off a duck's back.
I'll be lucky that it doesn't prohibit me in doing absolutely nothing whatsoever. I mean, being a bowler, a lot of what I do comes from my upper body, my back, my shoulders, my arm.
Gladstone's neck offers no problems at all as far as injury is concerned or anything else. It's very solid. The mobility he's got is good, so it just looks what we would describe as abnormal.
It helps me actually because my arm swing doesn't get too far away from my body.
100% team man. I mean, he's sort of, he's been a quick bowler for Warwickshire for now sort of well over a decade. He's got well over 1,000 wickets. That indicates to you what sort of a man and how important he has been to Warwickshire cricket.
And he went from strength to strength, and he's been one of our most successful bowlers here at Warwickshire in the history of the club.
I mean, there have been various highs, playing in finals at Lord's, playing in a World Cup final in India in 1987.
His finest moment, probably, as far as I can remember, certainly for England and perhaps for himself, I don't know, is when he came into the Melbourne Test match on my tour in '86 and took 5 wickets.
My strength as a bowler is not being phased, being able to control my game, the crowd, the batsman. I don't let that influence me.
I'm not a collector of memorabilia and memories being the birth of my children. They're things to treasure.
Away from the pressures of the game, Gladstone relaxes with his family on the piece of land he calls Little Barbados.
Well, I was seeing the youngsters play. I mean,
that's one of the joys. Zachary, 6-year-old, he's pretty interested in sport in general. That's nice and straight there. Good boy. This is a fitness test or something. My wife is not a big cricket fan. She likes the game. You know, she comes to watch, particularly more so now when we've got the boys. She does take the mickey, especially if I'm not getting around. She takes the mickey out of my batting in particular. She's always keen on that. Oh, here we are in the inner sanctum of Edgbaston, the Warwickshire players' dressing room, and as you see, it's functional. It's not a pretty place. Here we have the cricket ball, red leather, 5.5 ounces. For me, being a bowler, this is the thing that I look to use more, the seam of the ball. And this is the big bags that the players would put all of their gear in when we're travelling to and from matches. Our bats, all of our boots, and obviously all of our protective clothing. So the first thing that gets packed away in the clothing in the bags these days is your helmet, cricket helmet, made of very tough fiberglass stuff. The fast bowlers out there that bowl a ball sometimes approaching 90 miles an hour. So it's very important, these. Then the glove, the batting gloves, protect your fingers. And even sometimes these aren't adequate enough. So it's you've got to be well prepared. And obviously we have the very, very important, never leave home without one. And your thigh guard for the legs, and then you have your pads to protect the bottom part of your body. Well, I'm not a tough guy anyway. Yeah, that's a few batsmen, they all tell you I'm soft.
In part 2, trying to overcome injury problems, working towards his rightful place back in the first team, and what quality time means to Gladstone and his family.
Gladstone is now a country convert. He was a city boy when I met him.
When we first got married, we move out to the city. We move out of Birmingham, so it's quite idyllic. It's me at peace. My granddad, he always kept livestock in Barbados. We had goats, we had chickens, we kept pigs. We just use them here to keep the grass down in the field. But it's good for the kids to know about animals and care about animals, and so that's very important. And also the vegetable patch. One of my chores after school was to water the vegetable gardens and stuff like that. That's how I made my pocket money.
He digs it in the spring, and then he plants the potatoes.
He even does the gardening. And that's something, that's a surprise itself. He never did used to go in the garden before. If you paid him, yes, he would do a bit.
My pride and joy is the vegetable patch. That's more my domain.
I am the only gardener in the small household. The one and only gardener. I think Gladstone walks out into this garden about twice in the middle of June and says, "Gosh, this is a nice garden." And that's the extent of the work he does in it. Luckily it's in black and white, isn't it? We'll have to try and make one of those out of cards. We'll be able to see. This is what Catherine's got a special box. I think he's been frustrated by his career. I think he would have liked to have played a lot more.
It's been a terribly, terribly frustrating summer. The worst thing you want to be out is out for a lengthy period of time. So I really love to be out there doing my bit.
It annoys me to hear or see Gladstone described in the press as the injury-prone Gladstone Small. In my view, he's probably had less serious injuries than most other cricketers.
Being a fast bowler, my career span is probably the shortest of all the different aspects of a cricketer. Batsmen who can go on well into their 40s. A fast bowler's shelf life is the shortest of all the skills involved in cricket.
Somebody like Gladstone will actually play through an injury, but in order to try and get in the side and help the side, and sometimes that doesn't help himself and his performance.
Look at you.
He does come home and sometimes he is frustrated, but it's all over in a minute, and he's not a moody person. He won't stomp around the house for days, moaning and groaning.
I've done my bit for the population explosion.
Well, my first manager was an ex-England and Warwickshire bowler guy by the name of David Brown. He says, well, the only thing I'll guarantee you in your cricket career as a bowler, if you bowl for a certain amount of time, you're guaranteed to come under the surgeon's knife. Yeah, and he's been proven right. I accept that sooner or later. The body says, right, yeah, that's enough is enough. So it's obviously a struggle to keep your level of performance that way. Just recovering from knee injury, my first bowl for, what, five weeks. And obviously aggravated a muscle at the top of the bicep, isn't it, Fizz?
Yep, that's right.
If you can find a muscle there.
Yeah, there is one somewhere, hiding in there. The main injuries the cricketers tend to get are ball impact injuries, obviously, hands, toes every now and then, fingers, and a lot of bruising around the ribs area. After that, you've got the overuse type injuries, which particularly the bowlers tend to suffer from, which is the backs, the shoulders, the knees. There's two things that avoid injury. One is good skill level, good technique, and the other one is good physical fitness. The lack of physical preparation is very apparent if you look at the number of injuries that teams have had over the years. Gladstone, actually, he's a fairly thorough professional. He keeps himself reasonably fit. I'm just going to stick my fingers into that tendon where I know where the problem is. Just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pleased you cut your nails this morning.
Good. So he keeps himself very fit, so a lot of the muscle injuries he avoids. But we have had a lot of problems with his left knee over the last 2-3 years. Bits of cartilage flying off and little bone spurs growing in the knee.
10 years ago, Fizz, I would have had big scars all over my knee, but you can hardly notice anything these days, and it feels, touch wood so far, it's feeling good.
Yeah.
Working magic stuff, mate.
We'll try.
I think Gladstone is, I mean, obviously in the twilight of his career, but we're trying to keep him fit at the moment. Hopefully he'll keep going for another 2 or 3 years if we work hard on his fitness and we look after him.
The guy who, in my area, who stands out heads and shoulders above everyone else is Viv Richards. I mean, he was a phenomenal player. His way of batting, not only was he destructive, it was all total domination, not just with the bat, but also he got into your mind as well. Fantastic thrill playing with Brian during the Warwickshire record-breaking year in '94.
501 not out, and a new world best for the marvellous Lara.
You know, when you're around him, you know you're around genius. He's a very cool customer.
If there's one person I grew very close to is Gladstone. He's a tremendous guy, you know, true professional. He's represented England, you know, as an Englishman would. And, you know, I respect him for the way he's played the game, the way he's carried about himself. And, you know, if there's one person I always call on is Gladstone.
Ian Botham, for instance. When you're around those guys, you do feel that you're involved in something special. He gets annoyed now and again, but generally takes things into his stride. That's part of being a genius, I think.
Gladstone was a great guy. He was one of the boys. He performs on the field and he's with the boys in the dressing room afterwards. He bowled well, he played well, you could throw him the ball at any time of the day, he'd run in and he'd bowl. He's the guy that every captain wants.
He reminds me of the old saying that still waters run deep. That's Gladstone, I think. Never to be underestimated.
He just loves the game of cricket. And one wonders what Gladstone would have done if he couldn't bowl fast.
Yes, there are things that we look back and say, I wish I'd carried on my batting, because when I was a young boy, I was a batsman. I can still bat, but now it's a case of the odd flash of brilliance, and I'm sure if I'd carried on that way, I could have made quite a decent batsman.
The Stone Man, as we used to call him, was one of your top tourists. A guy who played it hard on the field and always enjoyed it off the field. And I remember because he used to be my roomie. And I know when Gladstone used to put that head down on that pillow, boy, he could sleep for England too.
He's a great roommate. Well, he's very quiet, he never snores. Always there with a cup of tea. Great.
Sports people in wild parties, never seen one. No, we're too tired after a day's play. Leave home at 8 o'clock in the morning. End of the day's play, it's back home at 8 o'clock at night. Cup of tea, cup of coffee, or a cup of cocoa even, and straight to bed. It's the way it always has been.
He came over here when he was 16 with none of the usual advantages, desperate to play cricket, hadn't even got the kit to do it. It was not difficult to say, let's support this boy.
I think that the reason he's gained the respect of people within cricket worldwide is because whenever he's gone on, he's played in India, Pakistan, the Caribbean, Australia, and wherever, he's always done well at the highest level.
I genuinely love cricket. I want to win, especially playing in the environment that we play in at Warwickshire at the moment. We have tasted success over the years and we want more. If I was playing the team and I can see myself easily drifting out of it, but we're playing a lot of good cricket. And then it's just easy to wake up in the morning and think, I want to go to work, yeah.
We've brought him into our cricket management now to help us on making decisions, selection decisions, and talking to the youngsters. I think he's probably got a role to play ultimately when he retires in a coaching capacity.
What would I change? I would love to be the real demon fast bowler, or the batting genius of Lara. Probably have the two together. Now that would be some cricketing, wouldn't it? Be a one-man demolition team.
You can't buy respect, you earn it. And I think that Gladstone has earned it worldwide. What more can I say? I'd love to tour them tomorrow. End of story.